Like, cause like I said, like, people gonna talk, people gonna make up stuff, people gonna say things. That's just a part of the game. You know what I mean? People have said the most craziest shit about people all the time.
But you just get tired of like bro, I don't want to see naked men, bro. Yeah. That's my preference, though. Yeah. I'm allowed to have that preference.
So did Jermaine Dupri just get exposed for his involvement in Diddy's alleged free with young stars, y'all? The internet is on fire after whispers of a leaked tape that reportedly reveals shocking details about what went down at these infamous parties. If these claims are even half true, it could be a career-ending scandal for some of the music business's biggest names. So what's really been going on? And why is Jermaine Dupri report in full panic mode? Well, stick around because we're diving into all the messy details. And trust me, the tea is so-so. Scalding Bow Wow's recent comments about missing D's parties didn't sit right with a lot of people, especially given the darker revelations that have been coming out about what really went down at these infamous events. Now on the surface, Woward was just reminiscing about the good old days of lavish celebrity gatherings. But considering how many people have come forward with these horrifying stories of what they experienced at these so-called parties, it's no surprise people were quick to give him the side eye.
He was just such a gatekeeper for him, the liquor in the clubs, like he was everything about.
But that's not all, because Bow Wow didn't just casually mention.
But that's not all, because Bow Wow didn't just casually mention missing Diddy's parties. He specifically credited Diddy with teaching him the lifestyle. Let's be real, in an industry where the lifestyle often means rubbing elbows with the rich and powerful in exchange for favors, that comment raised a lot of eyebrows, but people couldn't help but wonder, was Bow Wow hinting at something deeper? Was he a participant in these wow parties, or worse, one of the victims? The fact that he kept emphasizing how different things feel without around only added more fuel to the fire.
When you say, like, Bow Wow, say that he is upset or he feels the way that there's no more Diddy parties, he's almost like he's fiending for the Diddy parties. Like, man, it ain't going down like it was.
If you've been following Lil Bow Wow in his career from the start, you probably know how he got his big break. At just 6 years old, Snoop Dogg discovered his talent and gave him the name Lil Bow Wow. Snoop even took him on tour, giving him a front row set to the fast-paced world of hip-hop. But things took a sharp turn when Snoop left Death Row Records with the label embroiled in violent drama. And Snoop arting out, he had to figure out what to do with young Bow Wow.
Tell him your name. This is Bow Wow. Y'all hear that? Can y'all hear it? Yes. He's the future. He's a rapper too. He gonna drop and y'all go out and grab his stuff soon. We're gonna do this intro, okay? This is a comedian. You like comics? Cool.
My little nephew, Lil Bow Wow, was in the video.
Should have kept the plastic on in this.
We met him at a concert we had did in Ohio. My DJ seen him in the audience. Pulled him backstage. He came backstage. He rapped. And after he rapped, he sounded so much like me. I was like, man, you Lil Bow Wow.
Enter the Sue Def CEO, Jermaine Dupri. Snoop didn't want Bow Wow to get caught up in this mess, and so he passed him over to Jermaine Dupri, who quickly signed him to So Def. Under Dupri's guidance, Bo's career skyrocketed. He became one of the youngest rap artists to dominate the charts with hit songs and even movie roles on the outside. Everything looked perfect. But now with Jermaine Dupri being dragged into these Diddy Freakoffs scandals, people are starting to question whether there was more to be So Def air than we ever knew. And to make matters even worse, rumors are swirling that Dupri didn't just help Bow Wow with his career. He might have introduced him to the darker side of the industry. Allegedly, Jermaine Dupri was a regular at Diddy's Freakoffs, and some sources claim that Bow Wow was often taking to these events. If true, that would mean that Bow Wow was exposed to this wild lifestyle while he was still a young child.
This is love right here at the table right here, man. This is 20-something years of love right here. Like, before I had kids, you was my son. And that's just what it is. It's the same with JD. I seen how he raised you. Like, he put his career on pause for you. Know that.
Well, the legend has it that D wasn't just a mentor to Bo. while he allegedly introduced him to the industry that no child should ever be exposed to. But that's not all, because word in the streets is that G not only took advantage of Bo himself, but also passed him around to other industry heavyweights, including, you guessed, Diddy. The story sounds horrifying, and if true, it paints a disturbing picture of what Well may have endured growing up in the limelight.
I mean, I never really experienced that shit before. Like, and you know, I can only go by my life. You know what I'm saying? This is me talking about me. You know, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been living in Atlanta my whole life, damn near, for over 20 years, you know, and, you know.
But G's shady past doesn't stop with Bow Wow. Let's talk about the late Chris Kelly, one half of the legendary duo Criss Cross. You remember Criss Cross Will Make You Jump Jump? Yes, Jera, Pre-Discovery were just 12 years old, and they quickly became a household name in the early 90s. On the surface, it seemed like Jermaine Dupri was simply nurturing young talent. But according to rumors, there was much sharker stuff going on behind their relationship. After Chris Kelly tragically passed away in 2013 from an ode, speculation began to swirl that his struggles from substances might have been rooted in trauma from his time under Dupri's mentorship. Many believe that the horrific things that Chris allegedly experienced while working with Dupri contributed to his downward spiral.
He passes at a relatively young age. Was it 30-something?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you see that coming at all? Were you guys still in contact?
No, I didn't. I mean, I didn't see that coming. We was in I mean, we had just did the 20th anniversary, so it was like we had just started.
And to make matters even worse, when news of Chris's death broke during JPR, I went on a PR campaign acting like he was the most heartbroken person on the planet. He even released an emotional statement calling Chris his son and claiming that he would always love him, though at first people believed him, until he appeared in a Vlad TV interview talking about Chris in the most suspicious way. He couldn't even keep his story straight, let alone remember Chris's name properly. Instead of showing genuine grief, Dupri came off as shady, which only fueled the rumors about what really went on behind closed doors. Now, let's not forget Mr. Cat Williams wasn't just throwing any random accusations. He was serious when he called out Diddy and Jermaine Dupri for their alleged behavior. And as even more story surfaced, it's becoming clear that Cat might have been onto something. At the time, people dismissed Cat as being crazy or bitter. But in reality, he might have been one of the few people brave enough to speak out against these powerful men running the industry. Ped baby, you made the PR small as a child. I was. And to make matters worse, Dupri's past isn't just being re-examined because of Bow Wow or Criss Cross. It's also because Dupri's name has popped in connection with Diddy's infamous Freakoffs, with Diddy now facing serious charges, with more victims coming forward. And people are wondering if Dupri could be next on the chopping block. After all, he and D.I. were known to roll together hard back in the day. And if Dupri really was involved in those wild parties, it's only a matter of time before someone comes forward with receipts.
You gotta get people to start thinking that Bow Wow is grown.
Yes.
Yeah, you in the shell, yo. You gotta come out that shell.
I'm definitely not.
Nah, yes, you are.
Why you be hating on my... Come on, man. You know I got this. It's my turn now.
But this is the shady part that I need your opinion on. While Jermaine publicly acted heartbroken over Chris Kelly's passing, some fans believe it was nothing more than a performance to save face. Why? Well, because according to resurfaced comments, there was some serious bad blood between Jermaine and Chris before his death. One fan even went as far as to accuse Jermaine Dupri of trying to cover up the fact that Chris had once sued him. The fan claimed that the lawsuit was tied to allegations of misconduct, and that Chris and his family had won the case, though it was allegedly kept quiet from the public. Of course, Jermaine Dupri wasn't about to let that slide, so he clapped back at the fan, and even threatened to sue the page that posted the comment.
Yeah, so go back. So once I said Chris was watching Ice Cube and this, that, and third, and Chris went to Bunch Middle School, right? And I would pick. Once I became close with them, they didn't want their mamas to pick them up no more. It was Jermaine, pick us up from school.
That's not all, because fans weren't convinced by Dupri's response. After all, There are way too many stories about him and young boys in the industry to just brush off these claims, whether it was Bow Wow, Criss Cross, or other young artists, Jermaine mentor. People can help but wonder if there's more to this so-called mentorship that meets the eye. And speaking of questionable behavior, let's talk about the viral clip that recently started making the rounds. In the video, a former bodyguard from the infamous Tunnel nightclub spilled some dropping tea about an incident involving Bow Wow. According to the bodyguard, Bow Wow, who was just about 15 or 16 at the time, was preyed upon by a much older woman during a party.
Big booty Puerto Rican chick from Newark, New Jersey, by Broad Street in the projects. You know who I'm talking about. You know what you did with Bow Wow. Why you gonna rape that little nigga? You know he was only 15, 16 when he came up in this motherfucker. Why you gonna do that to the man?
So you might be wondering, where was Jermaine Dupri and all this? Well, that's exactly the problem. Instead of protecting Bow Wow, Dupri allegedly turned a blind eye to the whole situation. And that's not even the worst part. There are rumors that Guerra PR encouraged Bow Wow to embrace this kind of lifestyle at an early age, which if true would explain a lot about why Bow Wow ended up with so many wild situations later in life. Now, if you thought that Jermaine's past actions were already questionable, it gets even worse in a recently resurfaced video. Guerra PRI can be seen proudly boasting about taking a young Bow out of clubs and exposing him to things far beyond what any kid his age should have been dealing with. Instead of being a mentor who shielded Bow out from the darker side of the industry, Jermaine JPR seem to revel in the fact that he was introducing Bow out to a world meant for grown adults. At this end of the day, it's like I challenge Bow Wow, I say yo. But that's not all, because fans were shocked about how nonchalant Jermaine spoke about it, as if exposing a child to such an environment was something to brag about. But this resurfaced clip reignited concerns about Jermaine Dupri's role in Shape and Bell's early years in the industry. After all, Bow was a teenager when he was placed in these situations, and Jermaine, being his mentor, should have known better. And just when we thought that things couldn't get messy, this infamous limo incident comes about. Rumors have been swirling for years that Bow Wow was taken advantage of by a male bodyguard in Jermaine's limo during his early career days. While Bow Wow has publicly denied these allegations, fans couldn't help but notice how careful he was with his words. It felt like he was holding something back, maybe out of fear of pressure from the industry.
There's been the crazy rumor that you got raped by your security guard.
That's fucking ridiculous. That's crazy.
You've heard that before?
Yeah, that was like the first rumor that like ever had came out.
Some fans believe that BW's denial was less about clearing the air and more about trying to avoid bringing more attention to something he'd rather not discuss. He looked uncomfortable when Fancom commented after watching Baw's response. It's like he wanted to say more, but couldn't. But that's what makes this even more troubling, is there's a pattern of silence surrounding these allegations. Just like Criss Cross's case, Jermaine seems to have a way of making sure things don't fully come to light, whether it's through legal threats or simply industry pressure. Many believe that Jermaine has done everything in his power to keep these stories under wraps. But B's reluctance to openly speak about the limo incident only adds fuel to the fire. Was it just an unfortunate rumor? Or was there more to the story than Bow is willing or allowed to say? Whatever the truth is, the fact that so many young artists have come under Jermaine Dupri, have faced similar rumors, paints a very disturbing picture. Things took a darker turn when BW's ex-girlfriend Erica Mana exposed just how deeply he was affected by his experiences in the industry. And Erica didn't hold back, revealing that Bow Wow carried a lot of unresolved drama, which often manifested as anger issues. According to her, not only has Bow Wow dealing with some emotional scars, but he also took out his Asians on those closest to him, including her.
Great, it was great. And then it was completely bad. When you finally get to know someone, you know, that's when you really have to reevaluate, you know, and people just have certain demons that they have to deal with. I have my own, and
Now, we've seen this type of pattern with others that are alleged victims of the industry exploitation. When someone goes through traumatic experiences like that, especially at a young age, they often struggle to process it in healthy ways. For some, this means turning to substances or alcohol, and others lash out at the people around them. While that doesn't justify Bao's behavior, it does shed light on how deep his pain might run.
When things behind closed doors become healthy for him, I really hope he does get the best out of life, because everybody.
But that's not all, because Bo's story isn't unique. In fact, it eerily mirrors the experience of another former child star, Orlando Brown. Now, Orlando started out as a shining star with lead roles in several Disney movies. He was talented, charismatic, could sing down, and he seemed destined for a bright future in Hollywood. But just like Boward Woward, his promising career was derailed when things took a turn for the worst.
So I can tell you what the fuck it was.
Okay.
Now rumors have been circulating that Orlando was also preyed upon by powerful figures in the industry, including none other than Diddy. Over the years, Orlando has made some wild claims about what went down behind the scenes. And while some dismissed him as being unstable on that stuff, others believe that his erratic behavior is a result of the trauma he endured. And as if things weren't messy enough, Orlando Brown took things to a whole new level when he made a jaw-dropping claim about having X-rated relations with Bow Wow during an interview. Now the internet went wild after Orlando casually dropped the bomb, leaving fans confused and disturbed now, while many brushed it off as another one of Orlando's bizarre antics and outbursts. There's a deeper layer to this story that's far more unsettling.
Bow Wow's.
No, I was no.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about That's So Raven. Like on the set.
It's the same thing.
What was the remember?
Okay,
market?
everybody.
No,
Bow Wow was Raven.
Huh?
And this is where things get darker. Allegedly, these encounters weren't something Orlando or BS out on their own. Rumors are swirling that Jermaine Dupri played a key role in coercing Bo into these situations, while Diddy allegedly did the same to Orlando when they were just young stars. And according to these insiders, these powerful figures took advantage of their influence to exploit these boys under the guise of mentoring them in the industry. The similarities between Bow Wow and Orlando Brown highlighted a disturbing pattern in the entertainment industry. Both started off as young talents with the world of opportunity ahead of them. Both ended up dealing with trauma and the struggling to maintain their mental health. And both have hinted at darker things happening behind the scenes, involving some of the most powerful names in the business. It's hard to ignore the parallels here. Whether it's Belle's anger issues or Orlando's public breakdowns, it seems like the entertainment industry, there's a way of breaking down these young stars instead of protecting them. Fans have started to piece together these stories, pointing out that this isn't just a coincidence. It's a reoccurring issue that's been swept under the rug for far too long. So what do y'all think about this? So did Jermaine Dupri, and did he really have a hand in exposing young stars like Bow Wow and Orlando to such a dark industry? And could Orlando's wild claims actually be rooted in truth? Or is it just another one of his bizarre moments? And with all these receipts coming out, do you think more hidden secrets about these infamous freakouts will be revealed soon? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And don't you forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe for more Jewy stories about the latest hip-hop beefs, and definitely check out this next video on your end screen, because it's even more revealing than this one.